Hi everyone, welcome back to another video for Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst. So today's video is going to be a continuation of the PSO side story series that I've started. So just as a reminder, this will be going through all the side stories of the game through episode 1, 2 and 4 where possible. And this will be roughly about every 2 weeks or so we'll do another episode for it. So the last episode of this, we covered the first 3 quests, which were Battle Training, Claiming a Stake, and Magnitude of Metal. And they introduced us to a couple of little minor side characters, but we also got introduced to Ash, Kirik, and Eleanor. So in this episode, we'll try and do a couple more quests and see if we can build up some more of the picture of the lore of PSO. These are kind of like a supporting series to the main lore series, so there is several things in the side story that you don't get told about in the main story, so it's nice to sort of build the extra picture of the lore of PSO. So the first one we're going to do is this one here, which is the value of money. So the client is someone called Giselle's wife. Well, I'd imagine they have a name. I imagine that they're the wife of someone called Giselle. It is odd that they don't give their name for the actual client. And the quest is, I want my husband to stop wasting money. He buys too many weapons. I don't think he knows the meaning of the word waste. He buys weapons without a second thought. He could buy much better weapons earlier if he saved his money, right? He'll listen to you since you're also a hunter. Convince him. So this honestly is one of the weirdest quests in PSO. You don't even have to leave Pioneer to do it. You do it all on Pioneer 2 and it's literally just convincing someone to stop wasting money. So it looks like these are just the normal NPC dialogues again. You are a new NPC though. Oh, that weapon was great. Really great. So as you would expect, he's in the shop, because obviously he's considering buying more weapons. What? Who are you? An errand from my wife? I'm buying weapons too often? Shut up. I mean, there's nothing, nothing if not direct, you know? Expensive weapons are strong. With strong weapons, I can kill expensive monsters and I can be rich. I do like how he's saying all this, but he's clearly not even a hunter. I think it's implied that he is a hunter, but it's odd that they don't give him the model of any of the hunters. So, it's smart of me to buy better weapons, understand? No, I don't understand. Why don't you understand? You do get options here, so it's up to you, reader, what you want to go with. I like how you can say, because I'm a fool. So it's not always true. You're saying that the expensive weapons aren't always strong, right? But listen, even if its attack power isn't very high, it may be good. For example, it may have a good hitting ratio. The most important thing is to get a good point for the price you pay. You can't convince me. That's it. Bye now. So he's clearly not convinced. So I guess what we need to do now is go back to his wife. I'm sure he'll be very happy about that. Expensive weapons aren't always strong. I'm not talking about that. Buying weapons is fine, but he needs to be smart when he buys things. Take a firm stand, okay? So basically in the quest, we are just essentially an errand runner. The entire quest is just running backwards and forwards between this guy and his wife. It is kind of a funny quest though, because it does give you an idea of what's going on board Pioneer 2 as well. What? What? Did you forget to say something? You can't convince me. I'm not wrong. Expensive weapons are strong. With strong weapons, I can kill expensive monsters and I can be rich. So it's smart of me to buy better weapons, understand? No, I don't understand. Why don't you understand? Because you're a fool. What? Am I wasting money by buying all the time? Am I changing weapons too quickly, ignoring cost versus performance? I can't rebuke it. You're right, but I can't stop buying weapons. Forgive me. Please forgive me. He's clearly just addicted to buying weapons. Even though he claims he's doing it to try and buy the best weapons for value for money, he's clearly just very addicted to buying them. So we'll go and tell his wife. Did he finally understand? Now I know. He has a weapon fetish. But we can't afford to waste money to keep him happy all the time. Tell him, no more shopping. Oof. Poor guy. So we'll go and break the bad news to him. Weapon fetish? Yes, I am. Look at this luster. Beautiful. I love it. New weapons are so beautiful and shiny. I love buying them. What? No more shopping? It's too cruel. It was my only... So we've just basically broken this guy's heart. But you know, don't spend all your money on weapons. He says, also spending all of his money on weapons. Thank you. Was he really that disappointed? I'll allow him to buy weapons later. Good job. Please go and receive your money at the guild. And that is literally it for that quest. That is the entire quest. So it's probably the shortest quest in PSO, I think. And it just gives you a bit of a diversion and a bit of a way of seeing some little trivial things that go on Pioneer as well. But it's kind of... I do like this quest. It's kind of a cute quest, honestly. So that is the value of money. I should note at this point that there are several sort of side stories within this. So there is different quest lines like the Sue quest line and the Kiri quest line for the Soul Eater. For those, this series basically is just going to be focusing on completing these quests, not getting the Soul Eater necessarily or anything like that. So we'll just play through as we see fit. If you want to see how to get the Soul Eater though, I do have a video on my channel how to get that. So next up we have Journalistic Pursuit. So the client is Null, a journalist, and again, if you've done the main story, you'll know who Null is. You don't really run into her in episode 1, but when you get to episode 2, she does appear, as she's essentially the person who gives you the government quests in episode 2, or the lab quests. But this is in episode 1, so obviously this takes place before that. So it's from Null, a journalist, and the quest is, it's my duty to report what's on Ragol. Take me with you. Are you a hunter? Hi, I'm Null Renali, a journalist. Have you seen the online news on Pioneer 2? That's my job. Oh, don't worry about these clothes. I seek the truth, and I want to be able to let everyone know the truth. Information is controlled by the government. Interestingly, I think that is phrased exactly the same way that Rico phrases it in one of the message capsules. We journalists are just given information to broadcast to the public. A long time ago, there was newspaper media. It was a daily report of the truth that journalists collected. Let's not get into that. I envy the old days. I know there's a way to Raggle via a transporter. Access is restricted. No, I don't want to disclose it. I just want to go to Raggle. What is Raggle like? Was there really an explosion? This is obviously referring to the fact that the populace of Pioneer 2 are very much kept in the dark during episode 1 about what's going on the surface. So they don't really know exactly what's happened with Pioneer 1. They don't really know anything about the explosion. There's rumours going around about it, but no one really knows the truth. Does Pioneer 1 exist at all? So there's even doubt as to whether Pioneer 1 even existed. I want to see the truth with my own eyes. Please go with me. The government wants to restrict the media. They try to monitor us. That's the reason why I'm wearing these clothes, a disguise. But I don't know how to fight battles. It's your job to guard me. Got it? Well, first, I want to check the central dome out. Please take me around the central dome. So this is a quest where we're basically escorting Null, and she, as she said, is not actually a hunter. She's a journalist. She's dressed up like a Uniworld, basically so that she can get past security and get down to Raggle. I do find it kind of funny that the only security checks we've got is checking your clothes to see if you look like a hunter, but... This NPC here is new, actually. A journalist is working around here without permission. This area is restricted. Taker, please let us know if you see a suspicious person. I will do. So this, again, takes place in the forest. So we're basically just escorting Null just so that she can see what's happening on Raggle, so she can see the surface for herself. This is becoming a bit of a trend with these videos, isn't it, really? We seem to get a Boomer's right arm every time we come to Forest in these videos. So obviously, Null is being pretty much kept in the dark like everyone else on Pioneer 2. She... As a member of the media, she's being told what to report by the Pioneer 2 government, and obviously the Pioneer 2 government are not telling her everything. So she basically just wants to see for herself and see what's going on. I guess so that then she can make a decision of whether she wants to try and report on what's going on or not. Obviously the government would try and stop that, but I'd never have guessed. The native animals on Raggle are vicious. So it looks like even the status of the life on Raggle isn't really being told to anyone on Pioneer 2 either. So it's much like I said in the episode 1 lore series, is that Pioneer 2's government essentially doesn't tell the general populace anything. It's restricted to a very, very small subset of people. Virtually no one knows what's going on. Which is why a lot of the NPCs on Pioneer 2 are kind of confused and a bit irritable, because they see themselves in orbit above Raggle, but they don't know why they're not being allowed to land and start setting up a colony on there. Because everything's just kept in the dark. This is the residential area, isn't it? This area here? What happened to the people living here? What are these animals? So Noel's clearly a bit confused as to why there's no people down here. And why there's monsters everywhere. So we are basically in this quest acting more or less as Noel's bodyguard. There were rumours that a huge explosion occurred, but there's no marks. Something's weird here. Obviously, Noel, very intellectual with her being a journalist, so she's clearly putting two and two together that something doesn't add up. So she wants to go near the central dome, so we'll take her there. It's scary. Don't you think so? The people on Pioneer 1 must have started to settle down here. But we haven't met anyone yet. Nobody lives here now. So again, Nola's kind of worried about what she's seeing. She can see signs that it's a residential area, but there's obviously no settlers down here. And there's monsters everywhere, so she's now wondering what exactly has happened. So all we're doing at this point is just trying to get her closer to the central dome, just so she can get an idea of what exactly is going on. As for whether she can actually report it, I'd imagine she probably can't report it even if she wanted to, because I would imagine the government have the immediate on lockdown, more or less. Because the last thing the government is going to want to do is sow panic amongst all of the Pioneer 2 citizens. But at the same time, by doing that, they are also keeping everyone completely in the dark. So, very different tone to the previous quest, for sure. So it should be quite clear to know by now that something has definitely happened on the surface. You can see there is a lot of damage to like the area near the central dome as well, which is signs of the explosion. I think when she talks about there not being any signs of damage, I think she's referring more to like Forest 1, because Forest 1 there really isn't that many signs, honestly. So there is some kind of computer over there, so we clearly need to get the bridge raised for that. Hey, look. Can you see that input device for weather observation? If it works, perhaps we can access the main computer here. So she's clearly interested in the sort of the weather conditions and the weather reporting. Maybe there's some information that she can glean from that. Or maybe that would have some signs of the explosions potentially. I came here to discover the truth, but I'm confused. So we'll fight our way through these, and then we'll go and check out that weather observation terminal. Let's see if it gives us any more information of what's going on. Again, just sort of reiterate, this is meant to kind of take place very early in the stages of episode 1. Central Dome. If there was an explosion, why aren't there any signs? I find it strange that she's saying there's no signs there because you can clearly see the damage to the Central Dome. So I don't know why they've said that, unless that's mistranslated or something, but it's very odd she's saying there's no signs when there's been wreckage scattered around and you can see the damage to the Central Dome from here. So it is a bit weird, that dialogue line. A lot of people were living there. What happened to them? Was everybody involved in the accident? All of them? You can tell by the way that Noel's talking that she's getting more and more concerned as time goes on. Does it still work? Accessing Pioneer 1. Access denied. It works, but we can't enter the main computer on Pioneer 1 with it. How about local data? Everything was working okay until it happened. I also like how she says it capitalized there. I did wonder if that's like a subtle reference to what they refer to faults as later. Every log ends at the exact same time. So that should tell her that something has obviously happened. Every single log entry all cuts off at the same time, which is obviously when the explosion happened from faults. So it should be clear to Null now that something has definitely happened on the surface of Ragol, and there's no signs of life down here anywhere in terms of Pioneer 1's crew. Hey, take her. That's enough. Your job is complete. Why? Well, because I think I saw the truth. I saw a lot of monsters. No marks of an explosion, aside from the whole Central Dome being wrecked. No survivors. I wanted to report the truth to Pioneer 2, but I changed my mind. I'm pretty frightened now. I'm scared. People on Pioneer 2 already feel uneasy about the situation. I don't want to give them any more anxieties. Maybe something's hidden ahead. I don't think I should find out. I'm too scared to know. That's why I decided to stop here. It's all over. Can you bring me back to Pioneer 2? She's clearly terrified of what she's saying and just doesn't feel that she should report it to Pioneer 2. She is very scared by what she's seeing down here, and she doesn't want to spread that same panic to the citizens of Pioneer 2, which I think is really admirable of her. But she's obviously now terrified of what she has seen. I think it's a good time to call it quits now. I must return to the residential area before they find us. I really appreciate you helping me out. Don't forget to visit the counter at the Hunters Guild. Actually, did he say something extra on the end there? Yeah, so he changes his dialogue slightly, interestingly. So he still wants to know about the suspicious person, but then he ends it with, but personally, I'd like to know what's happening on Ragol. So it's this weird balancing act, because people obviously want to know what's happening on Ragol. They want to know why they're in orbit above the planet but can't land on it. They know that something is happening, but they don't know what. People obviously want to know what that reason is, but as we've discovered, it's probably also not a good idea for them to know at the minute, because it would just spread panic across the entire ship. So it is this really fine balancing act at the moment. So, and with that, we finished the quest Journalistic Pursuit. So the next one, we'll do the Fake in Yellow. So the client is Gull's assistant, and the quest is Dr. Gulls, a biologist who is crazy about Ragol's native life, is missing. Find him. Please, Hunter, help me. I'm Dr. Gulls' assistant. Recently, animal data from Ragol has been sold on the black market. Dr. Gulls bought this data, and he became totally engrossed in it. He stared at the data all day long. And suddenly he told me, I'm going to see them. We heard that Ragol was dangerous, so I thought he was just joking. But I haven't seen him for days. Perhaps he did go down to Ragol. So I asked the Hunters Guild to find Dr. Gulls. Please find him and have him come back here. So clearly the sort of inquisitiveness of him has got the better of him, and he decided to go down to Ragol and check out this animal life for himself. Which is obviously a terrible idea, because it's really dangerous down there. Hello there. No, I haven't seen Dr. Gulls. Not in the city, and not on Ragol. So that makes you think, well, where is he then? Because if he's not on the city and not on Ragol, I don't know. A biologist in white? Sorry, not interested. Oh, rude. So we do have Eleanor here, which is interesting. Let's talk to the security guard first. Hey, you. Don't talk to that android. Know yourself, Hunter. Okay, I'm going to talk to the android. Oh, SEGA. How have you been? Me? Of course I'm fine. I'm doing errands for Dr. Montague now. Oh, sorry. It seems I have to go right now. See you later. I have nothing to say to you. He's so disgusted that I just completely disregarded what he said. See, it's interesting that Eleanor shows up there. I don't really think it adds anything. I don't really know the reason she actually appears in this quest, honestly. Maybe it's just to sort of further her story a bit and reinforce the fact that she's now working with Dr. Montague. Because obviously the first time you see her is in Magnitude of Metal, and she's on her own there. So we'll go down the forest. And when we come down, we are greeted to an unusual sight, which is a Rappy just standing here. Which obviously raises alarm bells. And if you've never played this quest before, when you go near it, you can't actually attack it. And the reason for that is because this is an NPC. Oh. So it just disappears. So this quest is quite an interesting one because this is a fantastic way of hunting the rare Rappies in episode 1. The entire quest is just Rappies, there is no other enemies in the quest, and it's a really quick run. So people quite often spam this to hunt for the rare Rappy, particularly in Ultimate. So all we're doing at the minute is we're looking for this Dr. Gulls. He's clearly come down to Ragol looking for the animals down here. He's obviously been so interested in this data that he got from the black market that he wants to see it for himself. Which you can't say blame him because obviously he wants to investigate new life, but at the same time he's also endangering himself by coming down to Ragol. So it's a very, very simple quest. This one you essentially just run through, defeat a load of Rappies. There isn't really a whole lot to talk about with this one. It just shows you sort of the, I guess, the eccentricities of some of the scientists. So yeah, if you are hunting anything from any of the Rappies, particularly the rare one, this is probably the quest you're going to run in Ultimate in particular. So you can see there's one Rappy already there, a load more drop down. You can see that other one is acting different, so again, that is obviously the NPC. The other way you can tell as well is if you look at the map. On the map there is like a white triangle icon where that Rappy is, so you can tell it is an NPC. So he disappears again. So if you're looking for lore, this probably isn't the best quest for it. But it is part of the side story, so we'll do it. So no rare Rappy, unfortunately. We are running very hard though here, so it wouldn't really matter anyway. So after literally defeating the entire Rappy population of Ragol, we go into the next room. And we talk to this Rappy again. And he ignores you, but he doesn't disappear. So you talk to him again. And talk to him again. Bingo. You've got a great eye. How did you know it was me? I thought my disguise was perfect. Don't you think the Rappy is very cute? I mean, it is. It's hairy, soft, cute, so lovely and pretty. I'm in Rappy's group, I'm playing with Rappy, I'm living with Rappy. It's the happiest I've ever been in my life. What? My assistant's asking me to go back now? I've collected enough data by living among them. Okay, I'll return. I'll just spend a little more time here with the Rappy, then I'll leave. I said I'll leave soon, don't worry. That's okay, you can go back now. So we'll leave him to mingle with the Rappies. So yeah, he was basically disguising himself as a Rappy so that he could meld it, so he could like blend in with them. I was so surprised. I saw a Rappy enter the city and a man emerged from it. Hello there. Was he on Ragel? Really? Sorry about that. I wasn't aware of it. Was it the yellow one he was infatuated with? For me, it's just a big and disgusting thing. Wow. Go and lose another weapon like you always do. I've had enough fun. Finally, he's returned to the lab. Thank you very much. Please visit the guild to get your Mazetta. So with that, that brings us to the completion of the Fake and Yellow, and it's also going to be the end of this episode as well. So this series, we'll do it around every 2 weeks or so, and each episode will be, I would say, maybe 2 to 3 quests. It does depend a lot on how long the quests are, because some of them are a lot longer than others. But we'll tend to do a couple each episode until we've completed all of episode 1, 2 and 4. If you are enjoying this series, I would appreciate either like, subscribe, or join as a member if you want to on YouTube. You can also follow me or sub over on Twitch, where we do 2 streams a week, which is multi-stream to Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so feel free to follow either of those. You can also follow me and keep up to date on the channel on Twitter or X at Section Skyline, and I do have a Discord you can join, which I'll leave a link to in the description below as well, so feel free to check that out as well. We do play quite a bit off stream as well, so feel free to join us over there. Yeah, hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.